One.
We're running late.
One overdose. Late? What's
Late.
8 o'clock? What's time now?
No, where's everybody?
30 seconds. Most of this comes in. It's going up. Oh, you got echo. Echo.
No, where's everybody?
Echo. 30 seconds. I'm echo soon.
What?
Yeah, echo soon.
Why? Who plays it?
I'm calling you before. The problem is, if you don't drink normal Coke and it's on you have it, it tastes really weird.
You get used to it.
You can't enjoy it anymore, you know. No, I prefer like Pepsi Max or Zero than Diet, but sweet Coke now it's just.
It's sweeter.
You know, like you have the semi-sweet milk and you have full fat milk. Like
Oh yeah.
It's like, there you go, Yehuda.
Maybe Coke.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Tolly's equipped today.
Yeah. Already, it's very clear.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
Please.
It's understandable even if people haven't done how this stuff.
Whatever you take one. Let me just see a second. Let me just see.
I want to check it.
Yeah.
How did you do in your last issue test?
Just take 5. Double it is 10.
Probably got like about 10,000.
I don't know how it
Who marks that? Probably like the Schneidersteam used to be. You know, I used to get paid from Schneidersteam. The guy used to be like, "Yeah, good, very good." I once remember that.
Yeah, do you want to take one?
I once learned the wrong with Schneider. I once learned the wrong with Schneider. Like that, obviously, one him rocked up. Then I realized I learned the wrong. I was like, look at his. Yeah, that Arsenal in front of me. I was like, "Well, you want one?"
No, I've got the original. Thanks.
Or is this for us to keep?
Yes,
If you want to. If you want to keep it, you can keep it.
Did you type all this up?
Yeah.
Yoda doesn't twiddle his thumbs all day.
There's a missing.
No, why? What's so hard?
The mistake at the bottom.
What?
The name. No
Can you type without looking?
No, I can't. I can type fast, but not without looking. What's this for?
Just it's in the cupboard there, so.
Oh wow.
Leave it out. Done by the morning.
When's it from? If you want to know.
It's very short.
So recent. I don't know when there's. But out the bottom was the bottom.
Your own
was.
risk, you mean?
Can you see something? Is that pens?
Yeah, your kids like that. Can I get it for your kids?
Love it.
Take it.
Take it. Give it to me, Yehuda.
Nah,
Another one.
Yeah, no, give it to your kids.
I'll take 1 or 2. Right, okay, second. Let me just take. Just. Lettuce. Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come and stop.
Let's see. I think it's 6 is enough. No, that's enough. Try to take. Oh, you before you leave, I'd like to make 1 or 2 adjustments. Yehuda. If are you planning to do anything with this chart?
Sent it to him already.
To who?
Start working on design.
Oh.
The designer, but he can amend it.
Yeah, remember text. That's it. Yeah.
He's actually doing it to proper laminated card. Basic roll.
Oh, there's one of your mistake. Oh.
Yeah, at the bottom it should say rev.
No, Kirch, the second Kirch, I meant. No, that's fine. That's fine. No, where's the Kirch Matz? Sorry, so that's not a mistake. That's not a mistake. Well, curfew. Kirch lettuce, Kirch Matzah. Kirch lettuce 14. 14.
Who made them?
Be careful, you say. Did you move it?
No.
6. Kirch Matzah 7. I just want to describe what I've done here. Okay, nobody's here. I mean, one of you here.
How many print off?
Oh, there's loads. Yes, Tolly printed loads. I'm taking a few, Tolly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all yours.
No, I need to help yourself.
I'm going to kind olive. You get a proper chart of it.
If somebody wants to weigh, which is a very accurate way of doing it, this is the way to do it. Now, the numbers are given all in weight in grams, not body. Now, I do, by the way, you should just know, I do the Chazadesh, not the brackets. I wrote those who want to be extra machlish should do the brackets. Yeah, but I don't do the brackets.
Slightly more than
the brackets. Even my son, but one son particularly machli, he tried it when he wasn't able. But you should just know the more matzah you eat, it's a mitzvah. Totally, I'm curious if you could do it. Are you good eater? Who's a good eater here? Are you a good eater? No, matzah. I should really bring a scale.
I have no problem with matzah. Yehuda, I
What?
cook
You want to try it?
a box of matzah every couple of weeks.
No.
Seriously?
One box of matzah every couple of weeks is nothing. One box of matzah is 1,500-gram matzah every few weeks. Every few weeks.
Every 2 weeks
That's-
maximum. Open a box every Shabbos.
How much is
Of the
it?
largest, not the
You
inclusive,
have
not the
you
inclusive
never with
box,
butter, yeah, egg with butter.
everything. My son barely eats challah.
I hope it's clear to people.
That's because you bring her. Just don't make changes because you're doing it officially.
Yeah.
We can make. Rabbi Yehuda, we can make the changes.
I want to get to.
No, so far there's no
I want
changes.
it out by Tuesday, so.
No, so far I've not got anything. I thought I had. I voted Morag twice. Well, Mukherjee twice.
So this year you'll do it on Friday.
How many pages?
Yeah.
Oh, that's something to do.
Pass it around, put it around.
With advertising for Seder night.
No, that's without the summer campaign.
How much is that?
Here's a campaign.
Half page.
About 10 people are laughing.
I put,
Half page. Well, you keep it for Seder night.
It's gone. Sent. I want to see it again.
right. The idea is
Are these things
it's in weight. The numbers here is weight, not volume. I need to bring in the scales. Anybody? Okay, I'll bring in Bli Neder, remind me. No. You need an electric scale. You've got an electric scale? No, a good one.
Electric scale, yeah.
Where do you-
They're usually a regular one.
You've got an electric scale here?
Not here. It's usually within a couple of grams.
No, I've got one to the point.
Yeah, okay. But
No, a couple of grams no good because if it's a couple of,
27. So
How many?
then you'd have to get 30 to be sure.
How many decimal places do you need?
What?
How many decimal places?
Well, the better. I've got at least. You want it to be at least accurate to the gram. If it's not accurate to the gram, you're wasting your energy. What?
I got to see. The map that you have. I'll put it in.
It's not accurate.
That's what I'm saying. That's why this is coming out.
Listen, this has come about.
Give it back.
No.
What? So this is grams. So.
Everything is in weight. Everything is in weight. Grams of weight. Yes, I'm going to Bli Neder.
Every matzah changes. It goes by weight. Every matzah.
52 grams of lettuce.
Yes, it's
Is
a
that
very,
a lot?
it is quite a lot. Yes.
A matzah can't be that much. Wouldn't
So it's like two big pieces
Right,
of
so the
romaine
second
lettuce.
night, I wrote again, everything must be eaten in 4 minutes, better be 2 minutes, underneath the chart. Maybe you heard that the things underneath the chart should also be on the chart, because that's the most important things. The numbers in brackets, that's the right-hand column. In brackets, I put in a few extra numbers. I don't do them. That is the best if you've got the ability to do it. That is
Under
really
40,
the best.
Under 40 and over 40.
No, those who can do it. Those who can do it. I would like to be. I don't have my matzahs yet for Pesach. Also, I'll be nervous. Okay, right. We've got tons to do,
I got it. Oh, I got
and it's a gadita, and not easy to understand. And 5 days. Well, we don't do so much work. I won't get going. We're up to Kufyud Aleph and Aleph, the first wide line, and basically we're discussing how to avoid the wrath or the annoyance of shaitim, which is a dangerous thing. So we're up to Kufyud Aleph and Aleph, the first of the wide lines, that's 6 lines from the top. And everybody should hold onto your seatbelts, hold tight. And if there's somebody who leaves himself in decorative case between the date and the wall, then what happens is he annoys the shading because they like to go in private spots. It's only if there's less than 4 hours gap, because then they can't get through. But if there is 4 hours, if there's more than 4 hours, less than 4, you don't have to worry because they can get past without going over where you relieved yourself. That's the idea. There's no other path to get through. If there's another way for them to avoid it, less than 4 is not a problem. Somebody goes to 2 date trees. Again, date trees are places which are secluded. If you go there, you're stepping in the path of Shadim. I want to do Pesachim Rishus Rabbim, but there's no Rishus Rabbim between. Now, Pesachim Rishus Rabbim, if there's a public throughway, less than both because the Shadim stop, don't go in public places. Shadim get very, very, very thirsty. If they see you borrowing water, they get jealous, so to speak. Don't expect me to understand any of this. I'm just telling you what Chazal say. So if they see you drinking water which you borrowed, they get jealous and they try and take it off off a person. God, if an older person takes a lesson on board, they leave him alone because they're scared of older people. In a field, there's not a lot of water in the field. But in the city, there's loads of wells. The shrichi lesson on board, they do not attack people who boil water. Lesson on board, they're not souping into wine and beer. There's no earth on top of it. You haven't spat in it. If you got earth on top of you spit in it, lesson on board, you don't have to worry. There's no sun shining on it. And no 60 steps have stepped over it. If there's a sun shone on it, if there's 60 steps on it, lesson on board, you don't have to worry because it will not cause any harm. But you're not riding a donkey with the sun, you're not wearing shoes. If you go on water without shoes and you're not riding a donkey and the water is fresh and it's got no sun and no steps on it and there's no earth and no spit inside it, it's dangerous. You don't have to worry. That's only if you're worried about shading. But if you also have to be concerned about kshafim, there's a lot of witchcrafts around. Even if you got all of these protections, he was riding a donkey beside the sun and he's even wearing shoes. And he walked over this water. His shoes shriveled up, and his legs withered. So you see that the person has to be careful with his witchcraft. There are 3 kinds of things. You shouldn't go between them. They shouldn't let you go through between them either. Means if you've got 2 men, you should either go through you or you shouldn't go through between 2 of them. A dog, a date tree, and a woman. You shouldn't walk between 2 women, you shouldn't walk between 2 dogs, you shouldn't walk between 2 date trees. Pigs, if it's also a snake. If they do go through, what should you do? You should start with a pasuk that starts with Kain and finish with Kain. Which pasuk is that? So if you look in the top Tosis, if you from that, the top Tosis, says Kain Mitzim, that starts with Kain. V'niftach beloy. It starts with niftach beloy. Lo ish keil v'yechaziv, and you finish off lo ish keil v'yechaziv. Now the problem with that is that the last word is not keil; it's lo ish keil v'yechaziv, but it's close to the end, right? Rabbi Yochanan al Pirush, if you miss out 4 lines, because Tosas Akash, you shouldn't use divrei Torah to protect yourself. Says Tosas, when it's dangerous and you've got no choice, you're allowed to. The Yochanan Pirush niftach b'keilei machi should say like this. Keil Elokim Hashem Atzilenu Mikol Ra Mikol Nezek Hashem B'Yod Chokeach U'Gvur Ke'ato Keil. It's not a pasuk; it's a tefillah. So you see, there's a different words of Keil. Which one you should see? We should use Inami Iftach Beloy, but Nafsik Beloy. So you should start with a pasuk that begins with Loy and finish with Loy. And again, there's machlikus to show you which pasuk you should use. The Rashbam finds a pasuk Loy Yishkel, and the Meir Chananel says a tefillah. If you look at the last 2 lines of Tosfos, Loy Tidshenya Loy Kaiv Loy Tazveni Shemini Kishin Bas Oin Tem Ekot Haneni Va'atuma Loy. It's a tefillah. So the according to Rashbam, you look for a pasuk that starts with Kain, finishes with Kain, even if it doesn't mamish finish with Kain. According to Meir Chananel, you start with a pasuk, a tefillah, or with Loy. Hani Beit Shrei Dematzilu Isha Nida. If a woman who's a nida walks between 2 men, if she just started the nidas, one of them will die. If safely does he or come to fight with each other. Hani train Nashi, 2 women, the Yasim Pashas Doch, and they're sitting on the crossroads. One side of the path, one on the other side. And they're looking at each other. If you see 2 women at the crossroads facing each other talking, they're definitely dealing with witchcraft. What should you do? If there's another path, go on that path. If there's no other paths, if somebody with you, they should hold hands and walk through. I've had it once or twice. So you go into a chuppah or chasna, loads of women, and you have to walk through the women. Remember once, he grabbed hold of my arm, held me tight, and we walked through.
There's no don't have to worry about the witchcraft there nowadays.
Yeah. No, because you shouldn't. 1 man shouldn't walk between women.
It's not because of witchcraft.
No, so the Chavu brings down this halacha, so therefore you have to do it. If there's nobody else amongst you, name a hachi. You should say as follows: this is a lachash. It is a charm. It doesn't mean anything other than names of demons and witchcraft. Igras aslas asip lusya All those were words of different witchcrafts. We do not know. Miskatla, the already being killed, with a crossbow. So therefore, you don't have to worry about them. So he's saying that the witches have been killed, you don't have to be concerned. Hi man, the poga beitza. A man who meets a woman, the cycle to rest mitzvah when she's coming out from tefillah of mitzvah. If he goes home and has tashmish first, he'll get involved in znus. If she goes home first, what should he do? He should pour disgrace on those who are wealthy. Now it's interesting that this pasuk comes in two places, once in Iyov and once in Tehillim. The Shach says he doesn't know which pasuk exactly he should be saying, so the Shach says you should say both. I remember once walking with Vina, and he remembered both psukim off by heart, and we walked past Taka Mikveh and the woman could think, and he straight away said the two psukim off by heart. I don't remember the two psukim off by heart, but he should. Meister Shach in Yoder passes these two psukim. Teisvus, we'll have to on mitzvah, don't lose your place, but if you can turn the page on Daf Kuf Yom and Aleph, Teis asks the famous question that Rabbi Yochanan used to sit and Sharei Tefillah, the Gemara Bava Metzia says he used to sit there, that women who are coming out from the mikveh should then see a Talmud Chacham. How can you do that? The Gemara just over here says he mustn't do that. And there's a few answers, and there's other answers. One is that he didn't meet them, he was just sitting there. Another reason is that the Talmud Chacham, like Rabbi Yochanan, does not need to be concerned. Others, he would say this pasuk. So there's many answers that the Gemara says. Another answer to it says it depends if she's already come out of the building or out of the water. Out of the water is no good. It's directly out of the water. Out of the building is okay. So you've got different pshatim, and there's other Rishonim discuss this question. One shouldn't lemaisa bump into ladies when they're coming out of mikveh. It's no good. But lemaisa, there's a solution to say these two psukim. You have to remember the psukim. What does it mean when the pasuk says in the valley of death? What is the valley of death? Where is the valley of death? If you sleep under the date tree by yourself, a single date tree, since a single date tree is a very secluded spot, there is a very dangerous place to sleep there. That's Gates Hamovis. Or in the shadow of the moon, meaning that you sleep by a wall where there's a very small shadow where it protects itself from the light of the moon. As we said, shade and night to find private spot. The moonlight night, where would they go? In the shadow of a wall. So you sleep there, that's Gates Hamovis. There's no other date trees around. You don't have to worry. The person sleeps under the shadow, the shade of a date tree or of a wall on a moonlight night. His life is on his head, meaning that he deserves his own death. If there's no other trees, you're never allowed to, even not in the field, not just in the chotza. That means by a chotza, even if you've got two date trees there, you're still not allowed to. Therefore, why? Why is by a chotza worse? Because a chotza courtyard does not love space. So the shadim are more cramped. Since they're more cramped, even if there's two date trees, you still can't sleep in the chotza underneath the shade of a date tree. Only on the western side of the wall. If you sleep on the eastern side of the wall, less number. I looked, I could not find anybody explaining why there should be a difference between the western side of the wall or the eastern side of a wall when you're sleeping at night. You ever slept outside at night by yourself without any tent, walls, house? No?
Wind, maybe, wind direction.
Then why should it make difference with the shade in west or the east?
The
When
wind
I was a
doesn't work.
bocha, I slept on the side of the Kinneret a number of nights. Like you've got like an empty grass. No, with friends, but you sleep there. Yes, you're right. It's not the same. But nowadays, most people sleep in a tent or in a house, and such. It's not as bad. Okay. Again, the Gemara now says even harder things to understand. Haiman de Mafli, somebody who relieves himself a gilda de dikla on the stump of a date tree. He will suffer from a illness of plaga, which the Malshpam says is Mauritian Belaz. There's a sefer called Kukovitsky about French. He says moving Belaz is paralysis. That means Chas v'Shalom, a person who relieves himself on the stump of a date tree, it's very dangerous. Baiman de Matzli, somebody who leans, Veishe his head, a gilda de dikla, on the stump of a date tree. After he walks, he'll get a very bad headache of half his head. Baiman de Posi adikli, if you step over a date tree, imiktal kotel. if the tree was killed, that means it died, kotel, he'll die. If the date tree gets uprooted, he will also then eventually die once the date tree gets pulled up. He says, you don't put your foot on top of the stump. If you put your foot on top of the stump, less long boy, you do not need to be concerned. So you shouldn't use the stump of a date tree to relieve yourself, to lean on, or to step over, but rather you should stand on it. There are 5 shades which are no good. The Gemara now lists 5 trees. I looked in the art scroll, and they do not even themselves have good translations for most of these trees. And even the translations they did have did not help me because of the trees I've never heard of. So there are 5 trees that you shouldn't sleep under the shadow of. Tula de Dikla is a date tree that we know. Yechida. Tula de Kanda is a Kanda tree. Tula de Parcha is a Parcha tree. Tula de Zalta is a Zalta tree. You could only have Tula de Arba, that's the shade of a ship. But Tula de Arvosa, that we know, is the shade of an Arava tree. All those you should not sleep under the shade. Kola de Milsa, the Nofish Anfef, it's got a lot of branches, Koshi Tule. Then the shade is no good because shadim like to sleep somewhere which is secluded. So Arava trees, there's a lot of branches. So sleeping underneath it, you're asking for trouble. If the tree is hard, some say it means it's got a lot of thorns, or some say that it's unhealthy tree. Koshi Tule, it's no good. Leva Mikaru Masho. It's a name of a tree which is called Karu Masho. I forgot the Koshi Silver, even though the wood is no good. Le Koshi Tule, the shade is no good. There's okay. Why? The shade told her son, fly away, Mikoru Masha, from the tree called Koru Masha. That tree, it killed your father, he killed himself. Killed himself is a euphemism. The shade meant it's killing me. They didn't want to use the curse on itself. So it said that it killed your father and itself, meaning the person themselves. I saw that Kahana never stepped under the shade of any trees. Beiparchi, the shade that lives underneath the tree called Parchi, the name of the shade is what? Ruchi. It's called Ruchi. The Beizardata, the one that stays under the shadow of a tree called Zardata is Shida. The Beigri, the shade that lives on the roof, Vishpi is called Vishpi. What difference makes you know the names of the shadim? To write an amulet. If you're writing an amulet, you need to know which shadim you're trying to get rid of. The Bei Parchi, the shade that lives in Bei Parchi has no eyes. You can run away from it. You don't need to be scared. It's got no eyes. Since it's got no eyes, it can't catch you. Very good. You shouldn't sleep in the forest, I suppose. He would talk about sleeping there. He went to relieve himself under the shade of a Bei Parchi. Maybe he heard the shade coming, and he ran away. And what happened was, as he was running, he hugged the tree, but the tree burst and shriveled up. The Rashbam is the Talmud Chacham died. Others say that the shade died because it was so upset that the Talmud Chacham escaped his clutches. Parchet Beizardata, Shidi. I'm sorry, I did remember it a minute ago. Shidi. Oh, the name of it, of the shade which lives in Zardata, is called Shidi. Ha Zardata the Smicha Lamasa. If you've got this tree called Zardata, which is next to a city, Shidi will never have less than 60 shadim. The man have come in to write the right amulet. Ahu Bar Kash, there was a guard, the Moss of the city. He went under it, under this tree called Zardata. Tavasomich Lamas was next to the city. Olu Bei Shitin Shidi. He had 60 shadim coming on him. Beistak, and he got no one. Also, he went to Talmud Chacham and never knew the Zardata the Shitin Shidi. He never knew that there were 60 shadim this Talmud Chacham. So Kosav Lo Kimiyah, he wrote a Kimiyah Lechada Shida for only one. That means there was a person went underneath the tree called a Zardata. It has 60 shadim. He got attacked by the shadim. He went to Talmud Chacham and wrote him a Kimiyah, but the Talmud Chacham only wrote a Kimiyah for one. So what happened was, he saw a Shomai, he heard the Tolu Chinge Begavei. That means they started either dancing in a circle or playing musical instruments. The Komashtaria Zinga means either a musical instrument or means a circular dance. The Komashuachi, this is what the Shadim started singing. Sudre the man, in the olden days, the Bida Chacham used to wear like a cloth hat, which was unique. The more talks about it, Sudra, a cloth kind of, like a big cloth kafel maybe. And they would wear it, and then you could recognize the Talmud Chacham from his hat. So they said like this, the Shadim were singing because the person only wrote an amulet for one. So they said the hat of this person, Kitzuba Ma'abonon, looks like a Talmud Chacham. But we checked him out. He doesn't even know how to say the word Boch. He's such a ignoramus because he writes a Kemir for only one. Some say that he didn't know the Boch of Oite Yisrael B'Sifora. He didn't really appreciate what it means to be about Talmud Chacham. Also, a Talmud Chacham came. The Yoda, but he knew the Shidden should have that there are 60 shades in there. Because of a Kemir, the Shidden shade, so he wrote a Kemir for 60. Shama, you heard the Ka'amu that the Shadim started saying, let's move our kelim, our vessels out of here, because this Talmud Chacham is chucking us out because he knows that there's 60 of us and he got rid of us. Now, Ketev Meriri Trei Kat V'Hava. There are two kinds of Ketev Meriri, and two kinds of Shadim, which are called Ketev Meriri. Chad B'Kametar. One that comes in the morning before the afternoon, the Chadid Basatar. One comes in the morning, one comes in the afternoon. The Mekame Tahara, one comes in the morning, Ketem Vivishmut. Umechsi, it looks like Bekada de Kamka. It looks like a jug of Kamka, which is like a kind of saffron and spices. Vahoda Be Bachsha, and it looks like it's stirring with a spoon the pot of Kamka. The Basatar, one in the afternoon, Ketev Yoshutzo and Shemoy. It's called Ketev Yoshutzoim. Umechsi, it looks beikana to Israel by the horns of goats. Vahoda beikanfia, and it spins around like a feather, a feather which spins around. Now, again, we have no idea any of this, but I just tell you one thing. An interesting thing happened to me is like this: that the Chabarites, that Mishin Shavos B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, Ketev Meriri, he brings this Gemara. Ketev Meriri, the Gemara mentioned in a minute, is particularly strong. And therefore, a person shouldn't go for a walk by himself out of a city. And what happened was, one, you had a terrible headache. And I thought to myself, I'll go quietly to go to Dovestone, it's a quiet spot, right? If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful place. You can walk to Chu Reservoir up the thing. Very, very nice. And I couldn't decide, do I need to be choshesh for this mechaber?
At night, did you go?
No, during the day.
It's all day.
The mechaber says, I couldn't decide, do I need to be choshesh. So I asked Yossi Moore, I asked to say, he's quite knowledgeable in his. And he said, yes, you have to be choshesh. And I never went for a walk. I tried to call one or two people to go for a walk with me, and they knew what you wanted. So I never went for this walk. You would have gone to Dovestone. Anyway, the Mechaber brings it down. That means B'Shim Shavuos B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av is a time when Ketev Meriri is particularly strong, and you should not walk. The Mechaber writes like this: you shouldn't walk between the 4th hour of the day and the 9th hour of the day. The problem is, it means you've got very little time to do it because by the time you finish a kid's rota, you thing, it doesn't really work so well. But you should be aware that there is such musogim if you ever want to. No. At night, Mechaber doesn't say anything about night.
What do you do about your headache?
I don't know. Abai have a shock of Ozil. What?
Only during the day.
Only between Shavuos and Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. You look it up in the Mechaber. Mechaber is in Chelik Vav. Yeshua Chelik Vav. Abai have a shock of Ozil. Abai was walking. Ozil Papa Mimine. Papa was on his right hand. Over the way to have Shami Smoli. The reason I mentioned the stories of Yossi Moore said to me, yes, you heard from a certain Baal. Can't remember who. He did quote who. He's got good knowledge in these things. Which Rav had said that indeed that even nowadays we have to be choshesh for Ketev Meriri between Shavuos and Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. So between Shavuos and Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, if you ever want to go for a walk, go with someone else. Okay, Abai was going for a walk. A Papa Mimini, a Papa was on his right, Rav Huna was on his left. Imagine 3 times the Chum. Chazelu Ketev Meriri. He saw Ketev Meriri. The car still happy. That's coming towards him. The Smole, he was coming to his left. I had a Papa the Smole. I would have shot him in. So he moved them around. Our Papa should be on the side where the shade was coming to attack. Only our Papa, not my Shnodre. Why me, our Papa, said to Abaya, I'm not concerned about me. You are being successful. When a person's successful, the shadim don't start up with you. Some say because our Papa was much wealthier. Some say because our Papa had schus ovis. It's interesting that if a person is a lot of sakana, It's good to be either a person who's wealthy or a matzav or sakon or good yichus, and that way you're better off. That's what the Gemara says. Yichad beTammuz, from the first of Tammuz at Shitza Bei Badei Shchichi. They're definitely covered. You can the Eidach, stuff is covered. Mishdakchi, they are found, they only find the shadim, they are found, so they should root themselves. Where will you find these shadim? Tuli de chatzpo. Chatzpo is a kind of plant. It's a plant that grows very, very straight, Rashi says. It grows up like, it doesn't go like this. It doesn't spread itself. It's a plant that grows maybe like a hedge, a pivot. Cactus go very straight. I don't know if it's cactus going straight, like a pivot maybe. I don't know. Okay. That's what Rashi tells us. I don't know more than that. It hasn't grown to an amos. If you see a plant that's growing very, very straight, upright, and it's not an am at all, in the shade of that plant, you will find in the time of Tammuz these shadim. And you'll find it in the shade of the morning and afternoon, if the shade is not an am long. The main place to find it, is in the shadow of a bathroom. Just very briefly, years, the first year I went with my wife to Masada. My wife it was boiling hot. The only place we could find any shelter top of Masada was in the bathroom. We stood there. There was a shade in the walls. You should ever go there. It's unbelievably hot, you can imagine. But anyway, it's not a good place to be between Shavuos at that time of the year, because that's where the shade is more. These three things cause blindness. Can you imagine? I have to be very careful. The person combs his hair while it's dry. I don't know more than that. A person who drinks wine which is dripping out of a barrel. Somebody puts on his shoes at the maisni cover while his feet are still wet. It's not a bottle, it's a barrel which is dripping, so you put your mouth at the bottom, or comb one's hair when it's dry, or put on shoes when the feet are wet. It says about another thing. Hanging food on the wall, on the ceiling, it will cause poverty. If a person hangs flour, his food hangs in balance. But you shouldn't hang bread. If you want to hang meat and fish, less lombard is no problem. Yeah.
Putting your colours on the back of a door, or pushing a buggy and hang them on the
buggy
as you're walking.
So what did he say so far?
Yeah,
people hang flour.
But this is bread. When it's bread,
yes.
You hang it on the buggy as you're walking.
Oh, is that a problem? So if you look at second Tesis says
it's a normal thing to do.
Yeah, look at Tesis says talks about it. Can't cost the Rashi the Pirish second Tesis. Hani dom inch Susan it this schich la la lo schach bis the plias klik neus passt zu him should tell me sam when they place with sam and off the kashan yosa. So Tesis says that you shouldn't hang bread in your basket. Interesting. Tesis says that you can find bread to pay for your poor people. Okay, let's go carry on. Okay, that's normal. Pare bebese. If you have bran in your house, kosher and yuseh causes poverty. Shiur bebese, crumbs in a person's house, kosher and yuseh is bad for poverty. In fact, the Gemara says if you want to make sure not to have poverty, make sure that you don't leave crumbs on the floor. A person who leaves crumbs on a Tuesday night or Friday night is very likely crumbs on the floor, then the malach of poverty comes and settles on it. The malach in charge of food, naked shemeh, is called naked. Issa Daniyusa, the malach in charge of poverty, novel shemeh, is called novel. So if you want to know the name of the malach of poverty, is called novel. Rashbam says novel also can mean dirt, and therefore you see that if a person has a dirty house, it chas v'shalom causes poverty. So a plate, a put the chatzba on top of a barrel, kosher and yusa causes poverty. Man shosi ma'e betzi, somebody who drinks water from a plate, kosher the balkuti, causes an illness that destroys the eyes. The ochil tachli, a person eats a kind of cress, and doesn't wash his hands, mafchit Yomi will be terrified for 30 days. And Rashbam and Rashi point out that not only will he be scared, but he won't even know why he's scared. That's more we'll say in a minute. The Mesukah, somebody who does bloodletting from his shoulders, top of Kuf Yud Beis Amud Aleph, but doesn't wash his hands, mafchit Shiur Yomi will be scared for 7 days. The Shokim Mazi, somebody has a haircut, doesn't wash his hands, mafchit Yomi will be scared for 3 days. The shocker tufa, somebody cuts his nails, and does not wash his hands, mafchid chad will be scared for 1 day. He will not know, and the Shema says going on all of them, he will not know what he's scared of. I want to point out important halacha that one's not allowed to cut his nails on Erev Pesach after Chatzos. Therefore, this is one of the halachas every single year I get this asked. People call me, text me quickly. It's after Chatzos. Glad that this says less bad because it's Shabbos, it's anyway Shabbos. But people quickly ask, am I allowed to cut my nails? The answer is no. You're not allowed to cut your nails after Chatzos. You're not allowed to have a haircut after Chatzos. And people sometimes forget about this. There is those who are making about cutting your nails, not a haircut, cutting your nails, also shaving not.
Washing hands says in the notes about
Right, yeah.
people think that's
Yes.
pretty.
But this is very important. But Erev Pesach, it's a very busy day for the Erev Pesach. You have to cut your nails before Chatzos. Okay. The world carries on. Yod, I'm going to do a bit more because of the fact that on Friday we do less and it's quite a long dafim. Yoda Usya. A person puts his hands on his upper lip like this. Dargala Pachta is like a ladder to fear, meaning he'll get very fearful. Yoda, a person puts his hand on his forehead. Dargala Shinsa is like a ladder to sleep, meaning he'll fall asleep. Sometimes you lean your head like this, it's an easy way of falling asleep. Tana. Oichlin or mashkin tachas mitzvah is food and drink underneath the bed. Afilu mechupim klibazat, even if they're covered in iron and keli ruach lo shira alein, it's a bad spirit. And there's a lot of Torah about this. Does it mean of only an adult? What about a child? What about a buggy? What about if you wash it? Can you wash it? There's a lot of halachas. It's not here, but there is importantly, you shouldn't put food underneath your bed. A person shouldn't drink water. The Rashbam explains it's referring to drinking water without being able to see in the dark. It's not choosing that, not fighting that. That's Wednesday and Friday. Shabbos. A person does his life on his head with a sakana, a bad spirit. So a person has to be very, very careful not to drink in the dark on Tuesday night and Friday night. If you're very thirsty, you might accounting. Name a shiva you should say the tefillah that David Melech said about water, and this is what then you can drink. Shenema, we say it's Friday night. Kol Hashem al Mayim, El Kol HaKavod, Him Hashem al Mayim, Rabim, Kol Hashem Mekeach, Kol Hashem Brado, Kol Hashem Sheva Ozim, Hashem Hashem Zaz Alavonim, Kol Hashem Chutz V'Lav V'Seish, Kol Hashem Yechid Boy, Kol Hashem Midbar Kodesh, Kol Hashem Yechid Layolis, V'Yechsef Yois V'Yechid Kol HaKavod. So the person has to say the Sheva Kolis, and that gets rid of the danger of water. V'Iloi. I just want to say one small point, a beautiful point I saw from Yehuda Steinberg, Rav Hakim. Amazing Talmud Chacham, huge Talmud Chacham, Rav Hakim. And he says like this, that the more we mention, it says seven he says it's matter for money. Seven means shleimus, etc. We had before, that if a person eats matzah on Erev Pesach, what's it like? Anybody remember what the Gemara is? Very good. It's like somebody eats a matzah on Erev Pesach, is like somebody who has relations with his wife before the chuppah. How many brachas do we say under a chuppah? 7. He says, how many brachas, if you eat matzah on Erev Pesach, do you have to still make before you can eat your matzah? You can guess 7. You make Bo Pri Hagafim before Kiddush. Then you make the bracha of Kiddush. Then, no, if you eat matzah on Erev Pesach, you're eating your matzah, and all you need to do is wait for 7 brachas. What are the 7 brachas? Bo Pri Hagafim, Kiddush, Shechianu. Then you've got the bracha at the end of the Magid, which is Shegolonu Galas Aviseinu Matzachos. He asks that as a question. What about Adam on the Kappa? Says that's only a minute they shouldn't fall asleep, but it's no more chumikadin. And then you've got Anan Telasidayim, Moitzi Matzah, and Hamoitzi. So you've got the 7 brachas. He says that's a very interesting thing. That I hope nobody over here is too. Well, it's not so shoved about, but not there. It's a soul. Well, didn't know what to feed their soldiers, and they have Pesach because then they get hungry. So they came up with a patent. And the idea was like this: they baked matzahs shalom l'shem Pesach, on condition that you can't use it for matzah, and then they gave it to eat them on their Pesach because the halacha is that only matzah which you can use Seder night, you're not allowed to eat their Pesach. For example, we saw the Rabbi time said matzah Shiur. They baked matzahs al das, and he brings them Shemazaman, a letter from Zaman, and a letter from Shach. We're mad, literally mad. Shemazaman, because he said that what happens is he used to see people that eat the matzahs, they are Seder because the matzahs were around. And Shach held because of the fact that it destroys the minig of not eating matzah on their Pesach. Okay. But egg Knedulach, he says that's fine because it's not matzah, because it's clearly different from matzah. But Okay, we'll get to go. Guys, we're sure.
Why is it by ourselves?
Because you will not wait for the 7 brachas of the Sheva brachas. Okay, V'iloi, the first doesn't want to say these psukim. Name achish like this. Lul shafet anikod anirdefon. Says the Rashbam, these are names of shadim, which again, it's like a charm. We do not know what it means. It's just names. Ben koichvi yasivna. I sit amongst the stars, meaning I'm protected. Ben bili shmeni. I've got fat people and thin people around me. Shmeni is fat, bili is thin. I get swallowed up. So therefore, azulna, I walk. So therefore, don't attack me. Either attack the fat or the thin. If you can't do that either, if there's somebody else around in this survey, you wake him up. I was wondering, I couldn't find anybody talking about it. Maybe there's others, I didn't look everywhere, but how can you wake somebody up because you're thirsty? But right, so this is what says you should wake somebody up. But let me say this. Planisa, so and so, the son of so and so, Sechino Mai, I'm thirsty. You should drink. You should rattle the lid of the bowl. Why should you rattle the lid of the bowl? Anybody guess? What?
Snake.
No, it's interesting. I hear because of the snakes. It's really because of shit. He says because it sounds like there's lots of people around. Okay, maybe I hear. Maybe he throws something into the barrel, which again makes it sound like there's lots of people drinking. You shouldn't drink from a river, from a pond at night because you can't see what you're drinking and you don't know what it is. Shavivin cause blindness. If you're thirsty, you should get somebody to drink with you, and then it's okay because the shade don't attack 2 people. You say like this: my mother said to me, he's dire, you should be careful. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to say a word which means shadim, and every time we're going to take off 1 letter. It's like a game. Oh, very good. But that's guy adding a letter, no? But the other way around, we sometimes have a game. Can you change the word bread into water, and each time minus a letter and keeping a word and adding a letter? So mishaviri, then you take off the mem, shaviri, baviri, vivi, yeri, vi. And the idea is by taking off a letter every time of the name of the shade, you're weakening it. So chinamaya, because I'm thirsty and I want to drink water in a white earthenware vessel. Nachal gets stronger. I wonder if that's the idea. Pshita. Of course you have to drink wine. By the way, we said yesterday, it's very important halacha. The Mishnah says you always have to have 4 cups of wine. Who is the Mishnah talking to? Tosis says it's referring to who? Okay, say who. I didn't say who says what. Either the oni, that even if you've got nothing, you have to buy 4 cups of wine. Because even if you're poverty stricken, you've got no choice, you have to go and buy yourself a bottle of wine. Pesach, however poor you are. No, these wines are expensive. Always speaking to Gavin Stocker, that you shouldn't say it's a waste of funds. Why should I spend money on wine? Let me give money to people who are begging for bread. No, you have to give wine. There you go. Pshita, of course you have to. So Kiva holds that it's better to make your Shabbos like a weekday, and rather than borrow from people or think, here, because of mitzvah pesumim nissa, you've got no choice. You have to drink. I say that you should make your Shabbos like a weekday. You shouldn't eat people. You should do something small in his house. What should you do small? You should make a cup of small fried fish and flour. Yehuda Steinberg says that sometimes a person has to use superhuman efforts to be able to do what Hashem wants, like a lion or like a leopard. Similarly, even if a person is very, very poor, he should make superhuman efforts to keep something special for Shabbos. What is the barest? The minimum? It's kasata house. So the Mechaber brings it down. You have to make some effort for Shabbos, even if you're not. And Beis and Mechaber Paskas as well, that it is better to make your Shabbos weekday and not pay for bills. That the Beis and the Gemara and Beis tells us that everything that you spend on the Shabbos you get back. The Mishavur brings this kasha.
You've got to have.
There you go. You've got to have. You don't take from people. You've got to have. If you've got it, you spend fine. You don't take from people. Because by drinking the wine, you're remembering the foolishness of Geula. So you mafalsim the nest of the Geula. So you have to have 4 cups of wine. We're up to Tonora Bonon. Okay, we're going to have to stop here. Good night, David, Moshe, Yehuda, and Ian. I wish you a lot of atzlacha. We have over here papers. Right. Okay. So If you want the paper, either ask contact me or Yehuda. Right, okay. Shkech, right.
Sure.
So we're gonna start with everything. And again, I can't reiterate enough. It's weight, not volume. Okay, but it says it's in bold. So. Right. Egg mats is as big